Hi everyone, this is Matteo from Codeable. Today we're here with Raleigh Leslie, who will share with us his story and experience working as a freelancer. He will also tell us more about working as a Codeable expert, letting us know how this experience changed his life as a freelancer. So, hey Raleigh, thank you for joining us today in this new episode of Changing Lives. We really appreciate it.
Hey, Matteo, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, cool. I'm really excited to know more about you and your story and your experience. So to get the ball rolling, why don't you start by saying in which part of the world are you right now, where are you from, and most importantly, how long have you been a freelancer?
All right. So I am from Gig Harbor, Washington. It's a small town just south of Seattle, Washington, where most people are probably familiar with. I'm from there and I am currently there right now. How long I've been a freelancer, I
Yes.
usually tell people since I was a little kid. I was the neighborhood kid that all my parents or my friends' parents would, call me over. Can you fix my TV, my computer,
Oh,
my whatever it was? And so I say I've been freelancing, since I was a little tiny grom. But realistically, I've been freelancing, I say, about 8 years or so, doing web design and development. And as of this year, I've been focusing on freelance only since January 1, doing the self-employed thing. The 3 years before that, I ran a agency in San Diego, California,
cool.
and yeah, that was awesome. But yeah, now I'm focused, kind of hunkered down, doing just the freelance thing. So about a year now.
Okay, so you've been a freelancer for quite some time right now, and would you mind telling us what do you like about freelancing? I mean, why did you choose to start working by yourself and not ended in a regular 9 to 5 job?
Yeah, absolutely. I've done the 9 to 5 thing. It's usually works out to be more than that, especially when you own the company. But the thing about freelancing is achieving that work-life balance that you're after. And so what I mean by that is, a lot of people focus just on making money so they can, party or do what they want later in their life once they've made the money. And I'm 28 years old, and so I want to, take advantage of that youth that I still kind of have,
Uh-huh.
and
Yes.
be able to afford myself that free time. And so, being a freelancer enables you to create your own schedule. Do a lot more things with your time besides work, and use the hours of the day differently than the standard 9 to 5.
Yes.
Outside of that, growing the beard. That's
Yes. Yeah, you can
that's
see
kind of
this.
another thing. But yeah,
And even if we are at the beginning of this interview, I'm gonna shoot you like $1 million question. Are you ready? So, what do you think it takes to be a good freelancer? Does anybody can be one? I mean, on top of my head, I think that most that dealing with clients isn't a natural thing for many. So, tell us about it. What does it take to be a good freelancer to you?
sure. Yeah, there's a couple things that make a great freelancer, I think. The one that I have learned the most in the past few years, whether it's actually running an agency or being a freelancer, is the ability to say no.
Oh, so
Freelancers by
true.
nature are helpful people. They want to help. They will take that call and do free consulting, even if they don't realize it on the call. And once you realize that saying no actually has its advantages to enable you to say yes to projects that you are a better fit for you, it can become really powerful. And so I used to be the yes 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 guy, and it turned out to be a lot of stress, as to where now that I've learned how to say no, suddenly I have more time to pick up projects that are a better fit for me, as well as more time to enjoy life and pursue happiness, doing things I want to do with my time. I love coding, I love developing, but, I need to get outside too and get some exercise and that stuff. So the biggest thing I say is learning to say no and being okay with that and doing it politely, of course, and,
Of course.
suggesting other resources to those people. Don't just leave them, high and dry. But outside of that, the second most important thing I would have to say is communication, above all, almost. But a lot of other people mention that communication makes a great freelancer, and it's not just asking good questions or understanding your client's needs, but also I'd say politeness in that communication. And that's something that, you know, some people overlook, but even if you don't speak, you know, great English or, you know, struggle there a little bit, you can still say please and thank you. And so if you tack that on to the start and end of all your communication, it goes a really long way. Even if, you know, tone is hard to tell a lot of times, and a lot of communication for web development is done through email or chats or clients, and you can't tell the tone of what they're saying. So oftentimes they'll misread people. But if you put on a please or a thank you and just be polite in general, it goes so far, and clients appreciate it. They'll return that same politeness back to you, which keeps you happier. So I'd say being able to say no and also great communication are huge as freelancers. In any sort of freelancing, I'd say.
Yes,
so.
yes, me too. I totally agree with you. Yes, man.
Yeah.
And okay, let me ask you this: what made you look for something new in your freelancing life? Like, in fact, like Codeable. I mean, was there a specific reason? Like you didn't like the way you were working before? You felt unfulfilled, or what else?
Yeah, honestly, what it was is, you know, I've been doing this stuff for a long time. I kind of have a good reputation online. I'm always conscious of that, and so I do receive, you know, a lot of leads for freelance work, whether it's through my old company or old business associates or networking stuff I've done. But you know, I'm always kind of looking to get more leads so that I can qualify them and you know, say yes to the right projects that enable me to use my skill set with the most amount of leverage so that I can have that free time. And so when I went, you know, looking for Codeable, I can't remember exactly how I stumbled across it, but I remember, you know, briefly submitting the apply to be a contractor for Codeable form, which was a really simple form. I think it took me like 5 minutes or something or less to fill out, and I kind of forgot about it. And I was, you know, I wasn't even thinking. I was like, oh, maybe this looks pretty cool. I'll maybe get some work or be able to work for them. Or, and then one day, it was like, I think a week or two or maybe a month later, I'll never forget it. I got the email, and it was from Pear. I don't know if it's automated or what, but it says, hey, welcome. You know, your life is about to change as of right now. And I'm reading this email like, what the heck is this? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's that Codeable that I applied for. I'm like, what is this? And then I go and I'm like basically laying in my bed checking my email in the morning, which is a bad habit, but I do it. And I get that one, and then I see I have about like 15, 20 other emails, and they're all the new task emails that have come, you know, that morning. Yeah. And I'm just flipping through them like, what are all, and each one of them looks like an awesome job, you know, like something, I'm like, I can do that, I can do that, cool. I can do that. And so I'm just like blown away, and I'm like, what is this? And so I get online, research Codeable, look up everything, and you know, I think Pear actually interviews most people, but I think I might have sneaked around that one a little bit, or really? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he was definitely on Skype with me that day and watching me and monitoring to ensure quality and everything. But somehow I circumvented that one, I think maybe. And anyway, the next day I wake up and it's the exact same thing. I have 20 task emails, and I'm looking at them like, holy smokes, like these are all like awesome work, and the clients look awesome. They're posting great briefs, you know. And it was just life changing. And so from that point, I was like, holy smokes, this is something here. And I started completing tasks and you know, watching that money just transfer over. And I'm like, wow, this is going to enable me a lot of freedom, you know, happiness.
Yes, that's awesome to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this: did you have like, you know, a strategy for getting the first clients, or do you just replied yes to those, you know, project brief that you loved most? I don't know.
Totally, yeah. So I mean, with my experience, I like to think I'm like good at picking the ones that I know are like a good fit for me, and ones that are not. And so I'm very quick at qualifying those. But as far as the first task, you know, everyone's main concern is, you know, you have no reviews on your profile. Why are they going to pick you over this, you know, seasoned contractor who has, you know, 200 tasks done and all 5-star reviews? And Per was really encouraging via Skype. He's like, just keep, I'm going to throw some your way, make sure you're aware of them. And but really, it was surprisingly easy for me, even with very little reviews, to get these tasks. And I think it came back to understanding the person's brief, as well as communicating with them well and using those please and thank yous. I put a nice photo on there, without my beard.
Yes.
Most people don't know about that. That's one thing freelancing has enabled me to do, is grow a beard. But nice photo, nice short client-centric description of my work. So it's not about me, it's about what I'm going to do for them. And also, I was living in San Diego at the time, so it said, San Diego, California right there. And I think, a lot of people, most Codeable clients, I think, are from the US,
yes.
or a large majority of them.
Yes.
And so I think they appreciate that, that West Coast time zone maybe, or the fact that I'm, clearly an English fluent speaker or whatnot. So it was actually relatively easy to get those first few tasks. And also, I'm kind of the, you might allude to this later, but I'm kind of the king of the small tasks on Codeable. I really haven't picked up many over $1,000. So,
okay.
I like the little ones. I like the ones where I can, have it done in an hour or two and get paid right then. And that person is then like, wow, that was fast. What great service, and they get that response rather than things that drag on that could go just as well. But, they take away my freedom a little bit, because that person needs to be checked on every day. And I want to go ride my mountain bike or go up to the mountain or something, Usually I like the small ones. I like the ones I can just bang out and really impress the client, because they've never had a developer be immediately available for them, get started right away, and have it done in 10 minutes, and with a smile on their face. So
that's so empowering,
Yeah, and then the review comes in right after they click mark complete, and I save all those emails in my folder. It's an email from Per. It says so and so client loves your work, and then it gives you their review. And there's just no other form of freelancing do you get that kind of like immediate feedback. And it's every job you do, the client leaves a review. And if you do a great job, they're going to write some really nice things in there. And I don't know, that's awesome. I mean, that's what keeps me encouraging. Nothing drags you down than I think they like the work, or they, they're upset or anything but the positive reinforcement is just is awesome.
It's awesome. Yes. So how long have you been a Codeable expert?
Only since, it was May or this year. So
this
about
year. Okay, so
5 months, 6 months or so. And I started with a vengeance. I was on a tear, just working, saying, friends, I can't hang out. I've got to be here to monitor this little ticker, because you got to be on it right when they post, and then I got busy. I moved from San Diego to Seattle. I started enjoying summer a little bit more, and taking some more of that personal time once I was able to establish myself and make it past the review period. I wanted to make sure I did as good of work as I could during that time. So about 5-6 months, and I was off it, but I'll be getting back on it too.
Yeah, and how things are going? I mean, how are you feeling here?
Awesome. Yeah, I love it. It's like, I stay pretty busy. I do have, a couple bigger clients outside of Codeable that keep me busy, and I reserve time for them. Mm-hmm. But I always have that Codeable, ticker up. So I'm watching for new tasks that fit, what I want to do for them. And it's really enabled me to, have more freedom with my time. And that's the biggest thing. Like I said, I love to bicycle ride. I love to do things, outdoor adventures. And it's so cool to be able to just go and do those, because it's, not raining outside, and it's, middle of the day, and, my friends see it, and they're all, 9 to 5 workers, and I'm like, they're like, would you ever work? And I'm like, well, yeah, of course, but it's like, I'm also enjoying life. And that's like, I'm 28 years old. And so I'm turning 29 in March, at the end of March. And so then I'm almost 30. And at that point, you wake up sore every day, and you can't do as much anymore. So I'm really trying to, focus on that balance. And Codeable enables me to do that more than anything I've ever found yet in terms of freelancing. So
yeah, that's nice of you to say this. But would you mind sharing how many clients did you help out? How many projects you worked on and completed? Do you remember it?
Yeah, I think I keep pretty close tabs. I think I'm at 45, 47 or something only right now. And I probably could have a lot more. I could have a lot less too, but I'm pretty picky choosy on those ones. Usually if I go for it, I usually get it, or I tell the client, please hire one of our very other talented Codeable associates here. I'm unable to take it on, but usually if I'm going for the task, when they post it on their brief, I'm going for it. And so I want to do that task for that client. And so I usually get it. So that's, I'm not very aggressive with how I go about doing that. And that's okay with me. So
Okay.
yeah, about 45 so far.
Okay. Thanks for sharing this. And let me ask you this. Sorry. If you look at your past freelancing life and then you fast forward to today, how things have changed for you? Are they any different?
Totally, yeah. And so I was freelancing during college a lot, kind of more, doing design work, doing IT work. I have a background in computer networks and stuff like that.
Admin, stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I worked for my university fixing all the teachers' computers and doing the staff facility IT work. And it kind of got away from that, though. It's kind of super nerdy, there's no design. I like developing because you have a design and then you can bring it to life, and I like to see something happen like that rather than, oh, this computer's not working and now it is. And so during college, I was doing a lot of that work. And then I, started my agency or whatnot, and that was a whole different kind of beast running that thing. But what Codeable has kind of changed is they've made it so easy. I watched the last interview with Nathan, and he mentions this about how, without a platform in between like Codeable, you're doing all the work, you're doing all the business development, you're doing all the bookkeeping, you're doing all the everything. With Codeable, it's just, you're establishing yourself, all the requirements, they pay, it's held in a secure account, you do the work, you do an awesome job of doing the work, and then they hit mark complete, leave you an awesome review, and then you get the money right then. And so it's made that incredibly streamlined. I'm not a phone caller normally. I don't normally even do video stuff like this, especially with new clients or business development like that. It kind of stresses me out a little bit. I save that for my current clients or people I've worked with before who have kind of earned it almost. And so Codeable has this awesome reputation as the #1 WordPress outsourcing service out there, and so naturally they get a lot of people coming to them who kind of sort of already trust Codeable, and so that's really nice because that trust in between enables the client to trust me. And so there's none of that. It's not necessary for me to get on the phone and say, hey, here's who I am, what I do. They kind of just inherently trust that I'm there to do a good job for them. And so that has been one of the most awesome things about Codeable is it's significantly cut down on the need for doing my own business development as a freelancer. And then, the other benefit is normally I get jobs that are, they fit my skill set, but through Codeable, you have the chance to grow and learn as a freelancer. And so I'm mostly a front-end developer. I want to get more into back-end development and whatnot, but there's a lot of tasks with front-end and back-end and even server side on Codeable. And so I have the opportunity to say, you know what, I think I can do that one. I know I can do that one.
Yes.
It might take me a little more time, but it's worth it, and so it pushes me in terms of personal growth and professional growth. So
that's amazing to hear. Thanks for sharing this.
Thankful.
And I have just one last question. I know some other experts like you, after working with us for quite some time, have been able to, let's see, I remember this guy was able to buy a motorcycle, a new motorcycle. Another one moved from Russia directly to Thailand with his whole family, and other people are just spending more money traveling the world around. What about you? Did you do anything like that? Are you planning to do anything like this?
Yeah, I want to do all that. I want to travel and buy nice cars and everything, but no, I have a little more self-containment than that. I can give you a little story. The All summer I was down in San Diego. I have a little sailboat down there, and
Uh-huh.
so I enjoy kind of sailing around down there, just a little one. But and so I was, working Codeable, enjoying the nice weather down there. Um, Not cashing out on the money I was making on Codeable. So it was all kind of just sitting in my Codeable account and just, accruing more and more. And I decided to not do that because I knew I was moving back up north near Seattle for the mountains. I kind of am a nomad like that. I kind
Okay.
of, being in the mountains in winter is my favorite thing. And so being able to enable myself to do that, I need to save a little money to make those moves. And so right before I was going to make the drive from San Diego to Seattle, I cashed out on all that money that I had been working so hard all summer through Codeable, and that just gave me that nice padding in my bank account that
Wow.
enabled me to not be stressed about moving and know that I could arrive up in Seattle on my feet. Take my time, do some adventuring, maybe not work as much during that time, and enjoy the travel part of it. And then, once I was here, enables me, of course, to get a new place to live and work. I work from home pretty often.
Uh-huh.
And so, finding the right place is really important there because you have to have an environment. And so it might be a little more expensive. You might have to pay for temporary housing in between finding that right place. And I'm still closing in on it. I'm house sitting. This house is a family friend that I'm in right now. But I think I found a spot, and it's right near Mount Baker up in Bellingham, Washington, actually, which that mountain holds the world record for snowfall. So
Whoa.
it'll be a good one this winter to be at,
Yes.
and I can't wait. So I probably shouldn't tell people that. It's kind of a secret.
Well, that's great to hear. I think that's enough for today, Rolly. It was
Awesome.
super interesting hearing your story, and thank you for sharing it with us, with me, with us, and with all our readers and viewers. And once again, I would like to thank you very much for spending time with us.
Hey, thank you so much, Matteo. It's been fun. I want to also make sure to mention that I'm very thankful to be associated with all the other contractors on Codeable. These are guys I've all looked up to in the community before I was a Codeable contractor. They're all very established figures in the WordPress community, guys that have been reading their fixed posts, their blogs for years, and now I'm kind of on a level of associates with them, and it's an honor. And also, Per has been a really rad, awesome dude to get to talk with during this time. And also, Tomaz, I haven't been able to connect with him as closely yet, but I've digested a lot of his, content online and what he's been doing, and I got a lot of respect for him as well. So I just want to say thank you to all them and the rest of the contractors and yourself as well,
Whoa.
Matthias.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate. And
Awesome.
I wish you a great day and talk to you soon. Okay?
Yeah, thank you. Have a good night.
Bye. Bye. You too.
Yeah,
Have a
bye
good
bye.
day. Bye bye.
On Codeable, and so I have the opportunity to say, you know what, I think I can do that one. I know I can do that one. It might take me a little more time, but it's worth it. And so it pushes me in terms of personal growth and professional growth.